Okay, so we've done the control panel. Now we're down here at the manifold. This is basically where we choose if we're going to go into recirc mode or if we're going to go to pressurize the system so we can start to spray. So basically we've got the red and blue. We've got the red, which is ISO, the blue, which is the resin. They've got their own gauges. Now the gauges, you know, it depends on the product. They can vary in pressures, depends on the viscosity of the product, but usually you're around about, you don't want to be any more than 200 psi difference. You want to try and get it as close as possible. So basically with our control valves, the way that the arrow or the valve is pointing is the way that the fluid will flow. So at the moment, the way I've got it set, it gets picked up from the tank, goes through the pumps, and then it goes through the heaters, comes through the manifold into the supply hose, then it comes up to what we call our manifold. Now this manifold actually bolts to the gun. So this is our supply, this is our return. So at the moment the chemical will come through the into the gun manifold, back out, back to the manifold, then through this hose and back into your tank. So this is how we heat the system up. So basically if you've got it set at 60 degrees on your target for your product, once everything's heated up, it'll come out of the manifold at 60. It drops around about 5 degrees by the time it gets to the gun, because these hoses aren't heated like the bigger machines that Graco make. So the only way you can keep the heat in these lines is have the product flowing through it. So generally when we get ready to spray for the day, we'll have the gun set up onto the manifold so the gun can be heating up as well. So you want the gun up at the temperature you've got it set at, and you want to make sure that everything's at that right temperature, because you don't want to lose too much heat. So our control valves are on recirc at the moment. This is the way you heat up your product. This is the way that you clean out your hoses when you're flushing out the machine as well. So for us to go to spray mode, what you do is you just turn them towards the supply hoses. Okay, so we just want to make sure that there is actually a lock that they lock into, so it's pretty, it's definitely, you can definitely feel that they're engaged. So at the moment, the machine is ready to pressure up. So if we're ready to spray, we would go to our controller, we will turn up. As you can see, every time I go up one number, it does start to pressurize up the system. Okay, so we've gone to full pressure here, so they're very, very close. Now sometimes one of the gauges or one side could be a little bit higher, like we've got here at the moment. The resin is just a little bit lower, so what you can do is just drop the pressure on the resin, on the ISO, and that will fire up the machine. Then if I can do this one, just drop it up there, and it just brings those pressures up. So you can equalise it that way as well, but usually if you've got your temperatures right, you're going to be within that range of a couple hundred PSI. The machine has got an automatic shut off if it becomes out of ratio too far. So basically it will be one flash on the fault light, but usually it shuts down and you're going to, obviously you're not going to be able to spray. Now, most of the out of balance shutdowns is because there's a blockage somewhere. Now, usually the blockage is in the gun, and the best way to work out which one is the high, which is which is blocked. Now, the side that the pressure doesn't drop down, that's the side that's blocked. So if you pull the trigger and the ISO side is blocked, the pressure will stay up because the pressure can't be released, and the resin will drop down, and then that will activate the light, and then you're out of ratio. So that means that the blockage is on the ISO side, or it could be on the resin side if it's the other way around. As you can see, the pressures are kept pretty well, nice and stable. It will basically stay like that. We try not to, here at Rhino, we don't try not to have it sitting on pressurised for too long. Look, there's no reason why we don't. We just want to keep the product moving, want to keep it at that right temperature. So if I stop for 10 minutes to do any spraying, generally I will just shut down the controller, go to off, and then just release the pressures. You can hear the pressure get released, and then just put it on recirc and just have the product recirc. And if you go away for morning tea, you don't have it recircing, it's going to cool down in temperature, then you're going to have to wait for it to heat up. So and it's good to have that product moving all the time, keeps the temperature regular, and that's it. So basically, faults, there's not too much really goes wrong in this section. There's not much really maintenance to do on this. On the bigger machines, they have grease nibbles at the top. These don't have that function, but generally these things don't have much go wrong with them.